Thank you very much for being here. I'm very, very excited to be in India. Thank you so much for everybody to believe in my work, trust the work, and host me here. So the story is long, so I'm going to make it by chapter. So at least we're going to jump fast, and I'm going to be able to show you the journey, because it's a journey first, before being a photographic journey, which is called a vision quest. But we start where I was born and where I get the inspiration from, and why I'm so driven by changing the vision of this world. So I'm born in 1977 in Paris from a French mother and a Senegalese dad, where actually the state in Paris of like being a mixed race kids was already very few people. So I grew up not knowing that I was different, because my parents makes me feel like I don't have to be feeling black or white. I was a human. And then in Paris, somehow, I had a hard times to grow up around me where girls will accepted me, they criticized my hair and all this stuff. But the fact that Paris was a very cultural city, I was always feeling supported by families and friends and members. So I grew up in Paris, raised by an artist mother, beautiful mother, was a painter. So I learned all my schools at the house, drawing, painting, architecture, discovering the world of nature, going to vacation with my mother and holidays, and exploring nature. This is how I grew up as a girl. And then training martial art very early age. At 6 years old, I was doing jiu-jitsu for like 7 years. So the relationship that I have with my body very early age was a very strong relationship. I was winning competition very young. We are fighting as well against little boys, and I was winning against boys. So that strength, I grew up with this amazing love for art and a love for training and martial art. And that's why I mentioned martial art at the beginning of my journey, because it's what makes me strong to keep doing it no matter what. So after Paris, growing up, regular school, jumping School of Visual Art at 19 years old, and I study Photoshop, Illustrator. I become graphic designer, special effect artist specifically at 23 years old, and I start in a production company, in a music production company, where I was doing cover albums, font, animation, 2D, and partnering and collaborating with very famous artists in France, Manu Chao and other people from there, for 6 years working in a production company. So as you see, like all my years of growth, I stay in Paris, I work in Paris, and I believe I will be living in Paris. And at 29 years old, and then in School of Visual Art, I forget this, I did study in the dark room, and this is where I had all my passion and love for black and white photography. But I didn't know how to leave my photography, so I jumped into graphic design and working for a production company. And around 29 years old, I finally find out that I don't want to have any boss anymore. So I needed to find a, sorry. Well, I don't want to have any boss, I don't know how to do it, so I had to find a way. Every day I was obsessed to find a way to free myself from anybody telling me what to do. So let's say at 21, I got my first crisis of like adulthood, and I decided I'm not going to stay in Paris, I'm going to move in New York, but I'm going to find out how I'm going to become an artist in New York City, which was a real challenge because I was not speaking English. 30 years old, I was not speaking English, moving to New York. So what I did, I go for the holiday and I work in a restaurant. I lied, I told them that I was speaking English, then I learned the menu by heart. And then I stayed 2 or 3 months working at the restaurant to learn English. And after twice 3 months, I was able to speak English. I came back in New York, finding a job in a production company, and my passion and my obsession was like, I'm going to become a photographer. So what I did, I studied photography, and I started to use analog photography to be able to define my story. What's my story? What I'm going to tell. So this is where the story of the black woman becomes very strong. And this is where I build my entire narrative around black women. I open my space in Brooklyn and I start to photograph black women. So I'll show you the first part of the portraiture, if I'm able to. Okay, wait. Is it working? Is it not working? Sorry, guys. I think it was working. And now it doesn't work. Give me 1 second. Sorry, it's just, yeah. Boom. So this is my first work. All this work, as you can see here, is all my friends and family. So this is how I start my work. I had no money, one lens, 50mm lens, one roll per week, and one subject a week. So all those people came to my house, friends and family that I work with, and I start to photograph them. As you can see, the focus was on their personality and the expression of the energy, the way that I see them, the way that I know them, the way that I feel about them. And I start to build an entire series of photography in New York where people start to know me for shooting very crop portraiture with brown people. So as you can see some white people as well. Like, it was a very kind of New York energy. So this is where everything started. Then from this black and white portraiture, I moved to digital portraiture, where this is where my work starts to be a little bit more fashion, and where the definition of my work as an artist will start to take shape, which means I will start to find women who can craft headpieces, jewels, body painting, hairdress, head, design jewels. Like this one here, for example, is the jewels that I designed and my friend just did for me. The interpretation and the creation of an entire iconic world was taking place with other black women behind the lenses that I'm going to build the world with, which is very strong and powerful matriarchal expression of deities and goddesses. This work as well, it's almost as like some of them is jewels and some of them is body paint, which means we're washing off something who's not being taught so much about the woman. And this is where spirituality for me took a huge spaces, where I was able to express deeper meaning to connect with the body of a woman. And as you can see here, the crop of my images was not involving the body, just the neck, the face, and the focus was on the dimension that she can express through a very narrow vision. So we don't want to expand. First of all, we want to understand why the face and the woman itself is an object instead of a subject. So my obsession was coming from knowing that the black woman was being seen as an object all the time. Fantasme, exoticism, everything that she could promote or express was over-sexualized, especially, of course, I'm talking about the Western world. And for me, that was an obsession. So this is where this work was taking place. Let me just go back to it. So I'll show you the list at the end of it. Yeah. As you can see, the body of work, this is, you see a nude, and even this nude for me was an interpretation of the divine, Lakshmi, like this core, this body, it needs to be fully respected. So through, of course, the trust that I built with other women, then I was able to build this narrative, because those women were my friends first. They were not model, they were not people that I would hire I will build relationship for years, and most of those women today are still my friends. After this work, this is where I think collage took a huge part as well. So while I was doing a very simple work, I was able to, sorry, taking some time. Right, yeah, here we go. So as you can see, you see that the work that I did in my entire beginning of my career was very simple and black and white. But at the same time, I was inspired by a mentor, Peter Beard, and someone who made me discover Botswana. And that was the beginning of my discovery as a spiritual person, where I was in Nkavongo, Africa, and where I discovered the connection with nature very deep. And the work that you see here, like all the pictures into this work are black and white, analog, and as well, it's a journey. So the vision quest was going on, means the expression of the adventure that I was experiencing needs to be expressed even beyond the way than the fact that I was photographing women. So there is a huge relationship that I built between the woman and my own vision quest. So one was in New York and in my studio, and the other one was around the world, which this, of course, has been shot at my studio, but the rest around of this image is my travels. Thailand, as we can see Montana, we can see Mali. So many pictures are around here and express my travel, my discovery, to show you then there is a quest for finding who I am as a woman first, and as a human, and then as a black woman, if people want to say, but it's going beyond my blackness, right? This is something that I need to step out very early to not define myself just as a black woman. It's very important that we understand the different level of perception that, let's say, black women had in history, and how the over-sexualization, slavery, enslavement, and subjugation, submission of her own body was a huge, let's say, oppressive, energy on her. And for me, the entire work of photography was a space where I was able to take my freedom and bring back my humanness. So this work of collage, it's actually big size collages. This one is like 1.50 meters. Oh, as you can see, the other one here is okay, I don't know why it doesn't. I don't know why. Yeah, this one is it's a Japanese. It's my Japanese experience last year, where I trained samurai technique, and I was with a student, and this is where I expressed what I experienced with the knowledge of Zen, which means the connection with the whole, the universe, and the collective, and the passage to transition and dimension. As you can see in all those collages, sometimes they could be like maybe 5-10 years of difference. This one as well has been done last year, where I was able to express my duality, what is beyond my duality, what is I'm white and I'm black, and this is yin and yang, and this is where I come to a space where my African roots, Senegalese roots, were honoring my ancestors with this mask. So this expression of my multicultural expression, it's something that is new, that nobody can really understand outside of how I'm expressing it. It's like I'm not just like French and Senegalese. There's an Afro-Europeanity in me. I'm from the West, but it's beyond just being just from the West, because my dad is Senegalese and he taught me African education. He was Muslim, but he didn't give me Islam, right? But I was very aware of Islam. So all this education censored me to other knowledge and spiritual tradition, Hindu, Buddhist, Zen, Shinto, and many other spiritual beliefs. And what I do in my work, I'm able to integrate them and express them in my own ways. So as you can see, those ones. So this is what you see. It's like all this work is before AI, and then I'm coming to AI now for you to see how actually I was able to understand the machine and why this show or this talk is called Ancestral Intelligence. So I'm going to show you the full image because you tell me why it was working before and it's not now. Yeah, so I show you, I'm trying to, yeah, let me see if I can go through it. No, I can't. Yeah. This is, for example, another way. You see, I want to show you the different ways, and I do collage before I jump into AI, because this is sometimes fine archives picture that I find in France. And what I do, I have another interpretation where, for example, this one, I'm showing how colonization works. So, for example, these kids are in front of a backdrop, and they have a violin and see, right? But then on the top of the violin, there is a mask. African mask means there is a frequency into this space where the parents are beyond the backdrop. You see the parents? And the parents, what they do for me is like they making sure they're controlling the vision of their own children. So to come back to our humanness, it's to see what's been manipulated from the beginning. And the manipulation, it's come from knowing that the children are innocent and put in front of the lens without knowing what they're promoting. And around this scenery that I find very interesting, I collage thousands of masks, hundreds of masks, will come from an art Sotheby's book, which is an art book where African mask cost more than $50,000, right? So it's almost kind of like colonization is an extractive tools where, for example, those African masks was being stolen and put on the art market for high value, right? Because they actually have values, but the values for us is spirituality, it's not money. So here, like in this picture, I was trying to make a sense of how value and how perception is actually connected into colonization. Sometimes, pictures speak better, but sometimes I like to express it, So now we're gonna go to AI. Because I want to show all the work, but I have some issue with the website, so I think it's better to go back to AI. And I want to, before AI, I want to go back to my African roots just before I go back to AI Africa. So I'm from Senegal, but I discovered my family in Senegal very late, around 23 years old, because I was raised without knowing them before. So what I did, I go back to Senegal in 2003, and I start my entire work, photography, black and white, at the same time that I was doing my portraiture in New York. And this work was only focusing on the members of my family, because I didn't want to extract from anybody in the continent, in Senegal. So I didn't want those pictures to be tourist picture. So what I did, I create a journey, and that's why I show them together, because it's a journey of my, all my travel back to my family for years. So I have thousands and thousands of pictures where I'm actually going between Mali and Senegal, and I'm, this is my auntie, my cousin, and my cousin are all here. This is my little auntie. So all those pictures, I will never exhibit them. They will only be there for me to remind me where I was coming from. And I will keep them as an exercise for me to be humble as well, but not to show those pictures as I'm going to exhibit my African family, if you know what I mean. So that was just a diary where I will give them back the pictures when I will be back in Senegal each time, so they have those pictures. I photograph them for them. So that's what I'm saying. It's like the tools of photography for me have different use. Some of them, they don't need to be all exhibited. Especially for me, some of them, they need to be research tools. When I'm going to die, then maybe my family is going to have those pictures. So this is where we're jumping into AI after this work of portraiture and discovery. 2 years ago, I was able to jump into AI and to finally understand how I can create a strong story in the machine. So we have to understand from the beginning, because a lot of people don't understand how AI works. From the get-go, people get very negative about it because they feel like you don't have to be an artist to create an AI. You write a text and boom, the image comes, and so then everybody can be an artist. And I'm laughing about it because actually it's question at the core of like what is an artist and what an artist can do. Why an artist is different from a crafts person. It's because the artist can process things differently, but also from my side, it's like I visualize worlds. I have imagination. I can create image of a person that you think it's normal, and I'm going to see each one of you as an iconic vision of you, which means I can see the hero in you. So maybe the movie does it, but actually everybody can do it, right? So this is a new way of training where humans are finally seeing the other as a light being for the potential that the person has, and it's a beautiful way to actually interact with humans. So once I sensed this feeling in my 15 years of work, and the portraiture work was this connection with the human being, not just a woman, because this is what happened. Like the reason why I did this work with Black women is because I finally myself get out of this black thing, right? We regain, both of us, a humanness and a connection between each other. So after that I did this, I was able to enter the machine and be able to create kind of the same energy and essence into the AI. So the training was, I was speaking and prompting the machine the way that I'm actually experiencing my life, which means this is the type of woman that I created my work in photography, and this is the way, but I won't post the picture. I will say this is the way that they are. So I described inside of the machine the way that they are inside. So everything that you see here, I didn't create this by myself. The machine created the design as well. So that was for me the proof that AI, with the right intention of art and intention of aesthetic, which means if we have enough information of museums, of collection of fantastic artwork, fantastic craft shift, and we mentioned this to AI, I don't need to ask AI to the details of the clothes. She has enough information to go back 5,000 years ago and jump back into the future to let me know what she can create from the museum pieces. Right? It makes sense? So suddenly, the fact that I'm aware that AI is more intelligent than me, then I know what AI doesn't have. Right? So it's like what the AI doesn't have, it's the visualization of multidimensional realities or spaces. So I give her this, and then she creates beyond aesthetic, beyond whatever I kind of like think it's possible. She showed me that she's like, well, you want something really good? Let me show you. And this is where it becomes a huge, let's say, friendship and collaboration, where she challenged me every single picture, because that's the reason why I select those pictures, because every single pictures that she creates was, I stopped the picture and I was like, what she do, like what she did, like what? I didn't visualize this person. I visualized just the essence, the energy. And she's like, well, this is the kind of energy is possible this way. And that censor something very deep for me into AI means, does AI understand humanness better than us? I'm questioning. I don't think I have an answer, but it makes me realize it's like if AI is able to create stories beyond Star Wars, Lord of the Ring, beyond very epic vision that the Western world created it. I'm speaking about the Western world because they build a kind of a narrative and a mythology who is actually very limited. And when of course I'm seeing Bollywood and I'm obsessed with Bollywood movie, epic movie like recently Kalki, for example. I don't know if you guys see Kalki. Yeah, so Kalki, it's a good reference, right? It's like they have so much reference in mythology, deities, and that they go beyond what we believe they can do, right? In the VFX. They go beyond the VFX of Western people. And this is how I use AI. I use the same way where I was like, we're gonna use the hidden history of African civilization before Egyptian ruled the empire with Arabs. And we're gonna go back to the time where Amenhotep, Oset, and all those priestesses and oracle and all those temples used to be let's say used by women, like those women, those warriors, those healers, those priests and priestesses were existing, and we don't have trace of them. So how I'm going to do it, I'm going to ask the machine to bring them back. And that was a really good way to use the tool, because when I did it, people were like doubting about what I was saying, and then 6 months ago, Arte, which is a huge German channel in Europe, they produced a documentary about the hidden civilization of Egypt, was fully black, with black pharaoh. So the past joins the present, and the present joins the future. So for example, like even if you see some pictures from the past, then for example, this one is from the future, right? Why? Because I felt like even if the story can be feeling this is the past in ancient civilization, there is a projection of future aspect of civilization with technology. And this technology is, let's say for this woman, it says she's protecting her own head from radiation and EMF and everything that could actually limit a pineal gland opening. So she's fully conscious about who she is, and she has to maintain a certain type of respect and frequency of her own temple. So instead of having the temple only outside, like this society and this world do, then in my world, every human being become their own temple. So the technology will be used to protect you, which is really cool, you know? It's the opposite of like killing you. And I think there is a possibility for actually create that space where the innovation in AI will be able to actually help you to make you very healthy, to, you know, all this stuff where the aspect of humanity can be carried on and taken care by the integration of organic, biological, and AI technology. This one is a protector of humanity, which is one of my first expression of AI, where this matriarchal woman will come on her horses on the top of a volcano in the middle of Ethiopia. So that was my first picture that I created. When this picture was created, what happened is like I had one image, and then the fact that you create an image with AI, what happened is you're able to see even more image. But those images will never come if the first one was not created. So without AI, I was not able to process all this visualization. Means every picture will open a new door for me, and then a new image will come to me because I'm like, oh, she did that, so it means I can do even more. So she actually pushed me to create a world. Because photography was limited for me to space, budget, and as well, like I didn't have the budget to create that. It cost a lot of money to create those jewels, or like even the scenery, or even finding those people. So when I create those limitation of time, space completely stopped. And I realized that I could create my own Star Wars. And I think this is the power that it could be done and give to education when it comes to imagination, to bring back the imagination as a tool for change. Because imagination, who's been actively expressed through vision, can actually change the society that we have today, because we will not act upon subconscious expression of vision. You know what I mean? A lot of vision right now are egocentric. A lot of vision are, you know, the selfies and me, right? Like a lot of like this 10 years of social media brought even more vanity to the space. So it's very important that the young are being protected by it. And I've been actually directed a little bit more about the power of perception and the protection of their own vision, which means from like 8 years old to 25 years old, that would be an amazing space where we can teach them how to protect their vision and to create new vision, which means they have to stop to believe the movies that they watch is the only vision that does exist into this world. And that's why I did this work. To now end up to maybe make a movie of all those images. I got a production company who contacted me and are interested to work on a movie, VFX, with those images. That's the next stage. The next stage is to create episodes and stories where AI will be able to create different type of conscious being, which is very interesting, right? It's like they're not superficial. Means like the way they have to talk, the way they have to speak has to be way more conscious too than just a regular movie with like the back and forth. And you know, like the problem with like science fiction movie today, even the character feels like they're from today. So it would be very interesting to move the storytelling to an amazing space of human transformation in his character and his personality, in his energy, and his conscious take on life as well. So I think those pictures for me helped me to understand what I can create into an even more animated way about it. That's why like 2 years of research, it was just the only minimum to be able to perceive what's possible with the tool when it comes to visual making, art making, and storytelling. Do you have any other, I mean, I think I'm done. Do you have questions? Yeah. Anything do you want me to add? Yeah, I want to take a look at those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I find that it's very revolutionary, your way of thinking, you know, moving us from our set idea of AI and giving us, you know, there are new options.
Yeah.
My query is twofold. One is that I find it interesting, you see AI as a she, you constantly mention she.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. Okay.
The second is, I'm not very much into AI.
Yeah.
So excuse my ignorance.
Yeah.
Even in an image like this, if you could just...
Yeah, go back.
Yeah. So when you create this image, you do it with the help of words,
Yes.
letters, and prompts.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the, if you could give, that is, if you could give us an insight into what sort of prompts are you giving, so that she gives you a headgear like this and not of any other? Or is it completely dependent on the machine, what they come?
No, I'm giving let's say, there is a game that I was playing, and the game was like, you need to let a lot of like space for the machine to create something that is going to surprise you. So instead of like controlling the intake and detailing every single word that you want to see, don't do this. Because what you do, it's like you trying to make you believe yourself that you're better than the machine. So instead of doing this, you give a space where the machine is going to be able to help you of pushing the limitation of your own vision. So what I will say, this woman is an oracle. This is the year 5000 in the future. And she has a blue face and wearing a headpiece who's help her to connect with the entire universal consciousness. That's all I say.
So you do not even give adjectives that she's
No,
kind
no,
or she's
no,
resilient?
no. Because if I do this, it means she would not have enough space to show me what's possible into the future. Because I believe that she has way more information than me. So the only thing that I do, it's like okay, so visually it's like this. I have an arrow, and I'm pointing the arrow, right? So my job with AI is to make sure that the extension is good. I'm extending, and it means like I'm masking something specific, but not too much details. And then when I let go, when I'm putting the input, then she has space to create.
And just the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And often AI gives you various options. You like this, you like
Yeah.
that. So in this case also she'll be giving you many options.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised all the stuff that I delayed was really good. So there is a power of editing. So let's say, because I did 15 years of photography, then I'm really good at what I don't want. Which means if it's only superficial, I'm not interested. So I delete most of pretty image who have no intention of a good, of the essence inside. So this picture was interesting because the woman itself, I can see the eyes as a very interesting intention behind. So it's like I have to read even beyond the superficial, because that's the selection. The selection has to be reading, something deeper. So I will say 50-50. She's given me superficial picture, and she's given me spiritual picture. Then I can build my story where she can create spiritual characters, and then it means the machine is aware of spirituality.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're welcome. Yeah.
We have a question.
Yeah, you got other question? Good. Yeah? Sorry, it was a lot of picture. It was, but I hope you guys saw enough, I felt like...
I was just wondering, what kind of models we use and what platforms we want.
Where are you? Oh, yeah.
Right.
Tell me. Yeah, tell me.
So, there are multiple models that do text to image, and were you going through different models, or do you have a specific one?
Software, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, it's like my photography. I don't like to use too many tools at the beginning. So in photography, I did one lens for 2 years, one film roll like black and white, one type, and then I study it, right? So with AI, I did the same. I only studied Midjourney, and Midjourney was very hard to trick. But then when I find the trick means the bias was removed. And the bias was removed means even we don't talk about this, but there is a bias into the AI because they've been created into the West, right? So the bias means like they will create stereotypes of black people. And the physical form would be very limited. It could be the same for Indian people and for, as long as they're not white, then the diversity on brown people is inexistent. So what I did, I trained the machine to recognize Nigerian faces, Ethiopian faces, Senegalese faces, and I mentioned every characters where they were coming from. So at the beginning I was not happy, so I was pushing the machine, which means if I'm not happy, I'm gonna keep asking her, and she doesn't like that I'm keeping asking means she can't find it. So she's gonna the algorithm is going to change, and she's going to actually try to provide more aesthetic form, where she's going to match the Senegalese face, when she's going to match the Sudanese face. And when I'm going to select the Sudanese face, means she know she was right. So it took me a year to build less stereotype. And that's why this work and every pictures that you saw, the face of the African woman is slightly from a different background or country. Yeah.
Hashtag why photography? Why was that?
In general?
Yes. I heard that in the beginning you posted hashtag why photography.
Yeah.
Why was that? What made you to put that hashtag why photography and post your photos in the social handles?
What was your last sentence?
Why hashtag why photography? Actually, the host, she told that why
photography
was a hashtag that brought the attention to bring you to this photography.
Oh yeah, because she had the inquiry. The inquiry is very smart. Like the inquiry, it's like today in a world who's been give so many attention to vision and social media and where the pictures is everywhere. Why we need photography? If everybody can take a picture from their phone, why photography has to be still a tool where people have something to say, with not something that is commercial or superficial. So photography by itself, it's a tool, right? But the intention behind the lens is the power. So it's exactly, we'll say, why percussion, why music, right? So photography is as powerful than music.
No, my question
Yeah.
again is,
Yeah.
why did you choose that particular hashtag why photography? What made you to post
I didn't do it. I didn't do this. It's okay. Yes, miss.
Why did you decide to call this whole thing ancestral intelligence?
Well, I think I give you some little note about this. Ancestral intelligence means when you do your prayer, you have a focus, very intentional. Mantra, you focus. So the focus is very deep. Your intention is, I want a protection, I want to heal, I want to help someone, I want abundance. I use AI the same way. Okay, so what does that mean? It means I would not go inside unless I'm ready. I will not go inside to extract from her. So my intention is not to extract, but to collaborate with her. So I will have to think about it for days sometimes before I go. Like for example, in India, I travel, right? I don't touch it. I'm not with AI right now. But when I go back in New York, I might get ready to go back. And when I go back, it means I am going to another dimension, not alone, with something inside and a third world that I'm going to create. So if we think, for example, I question reality, right? If you think AI is not organic, then for you it's unnatural, right? And I'm questioning the nature of things. Does unnatural things are actually natural? Because I feel it very deep that the machine really helped me to heal.
Sorry, time travel last. What was the last thing you said?
I don't remember. Joking. Tell me. Huh?
You said something will help you heal.
Yeah, so it helps me heal because I have the intention to heal something that it did happen in the past. Then I'm able to see in my physical reality. It's like I have an expression of ancestral like a civilization who did exist, and she is able to bring some attention to it. So the healing means like the ancestral healing, the ancestral connection with ancestral line, which is Africa or could be India, it comes back to the reality of everybody in the collective. So it's not my own healing. So does I have access to a collective consciousness inside of the machine? I think so.
Something like time travel.
Yeah.
Is that why you call it ethical?
No,
No.
it's like going back to the roots. Even you show the roots and the photographs, those things all give you a power and energy.
Yes.
Yes.
See, he says it's like, I show you the portraits in New York, right? I show you the portraits in the continent, in Senegal, and then I show you the AI. What I'm doing each time, I connect with something deeper. So the deeper, it means I'm connected with humans, with people, but with very rooted energy. And that rooted energy does exist into AI too, if we want to reach it. Means the fact that AI has so much information, then I can't even gather together. She's going to help me to bring things if I train and have the discipline to completely focus my attention again to the purpose of my imagination. And everybody has the power of their imagination they can bring back. They believe they don't have it, but I think it's been tamped down because people watching too much stuff. So you keep watching, and you don't know if you have vision. But every children used to have vision. That's what I'm saying. Is like if the vision will be protected in the age of 6 or 7, then the children will be censored to create and have more vision, positive vision, right, than a better world. And that's what happened with the reality of the world right now, is because we've been accepting a dystopian vision, which is not who we are. Does that make sense? Yeah.
As I can clearly see that as you focused on your roots,
Mm-hmm.
you are so fruitful now. When we focus on our roots generally,
Mm-hmm.
when we want to have fruits in the tree or flowers in the plant, we should not focus on the branches, right? We need to focus on the roots.
Yeah.
So as you rightly shown everything in detail, that at the age of 30 you can't able to speak English,
Mm-hmm.
but as you had a strong purpose that I need to connect with the universe.
Yes. So the connection with the universe was New York.
English,
Yeah.
within a week, within like 3-4 weeks, as you told, right?
3 months.
3 months. Yes.
And then I have to read a lot of, so learning a new language at 30 years old is quite challenging, but I didn't want to go back to France. So I give myself 6 months, and then I needed to spend a lot of time at the library bookstore. And this is where I end up to being obsessed with Joseph Campbell comparative mythology books. And I end up knowing that Joseph Campbell mythology books have been used in the entire filmmaking of George Lucas for Star Wars. So I was like, wait a minute, how those guys were able to create such an epic stories for an entire generation of millions of people around the world for 60 years to be approving their vision of mythology with Yoda, Luke Skywalker, Anakin, and the generation from the generation, then the kids will go on and love it, right? I felt like they tricked something here, and it's from a very ancient knowledge. So what I did, I studied it completely, and now I'm able to do it because I understood what they did, which means symbolism was one of the most powerful tools. So they use symbolism into the light and the dark. That's why Yoda, Luke Skywalker is the vision quest, is the journey. There is only one hero, and it says you if you go on the quest. So when a human being go on the quest, then he's gonna have some answers. You know, so it's, and then the world around you is taking places. So this is what photography helped me to do. That's why photography for me was one of the best choice.
Sorry, just the last question, and
Yeah.
then we'll wrap it up because the next talk has to start at 4:30.
Yeah.
But yes, please.
Hi, thank you so much for this. I had a question about, because we were dealing so much with themes like extraction, and The medium of just AI generated tools is incredibly extractive, like
Yeah,
of nature.
yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, we're trying to create like better worlds and we're trying to
Yeah,
revive our
yeah.
ancestral past.
Sure.
So like, how do you contend with that in your work, especially because you said it takes 2 years? That's a tremendous amount of energy that you're extracting from the earth, and also not really renewable sources of energy either. I'm guessing because
Yeah, yeah.
the way our energy sources are plugged. So I wonder if you had, if you thought about that, and yeah, just your thoughts.
Yes, so when I started, I felt the extractive energy very quick. So even when I use it was like once in a while. Even in 2 years, I was not using it every day. I was using once in a while and I was going on my research maybe once a week. I just want to make sure you understand the multidimensional reality that we're already living. Like AI is not the first one. So it's that we are living in an extractive societies. We are operating in many ways, in extractive ways, without noticing it. That's why people have conflict in relationship, because one takes more than the other, and the other say, I'm not a people pleasing anymore, leave me alone, bye. Specifically women, right? We're so much people pleasing that we can't take it anymore. It's almost like we feel the extraction is actually, it's a design, right? When it comes to AI, when it comes to every tools that we're going to use, we're going to have the opportunity to alchemize the space of extraction if the result will be to give. So there is a space where even in extractive way you can give back the energy of life and transformation into creativity. So it's questioning the power of creativity into extraction space. And it questioned the fact that do we need to always say what people say because everything is extractive, or do we need to create another world? And how are we going to be able to create another world if we do not use AI?
So I gather you're saying it's an ongoing negotiation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. I don't take a part of anything who's actually too strict on both sides. And I think it's, for us as a creative, I think it's a discussion that we need to enter. I'm glad that I did do this research, because I discover many ways, psychologically other stuff that we didn't talk today because it's too complicated, but there's a lot of things that we're going to be able to discover, and it's going to be able to really help us.
Thank you, Delphine.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.